Hi, didn't see you there. I'm Jen.
I'm Tara.
And welcome to our home in Pasay City. Come in. So the first thing you'll see when you step inside is our living room. And if you direct your gaze over here, you'll be greeted by this beautiful, exquisite, limited edition banqueted chair with a curved crest rail.
We actually discovered this gem during one of our travels. It's handcrafted from reclaimed wood salvaged from an old pirate ship in the Caribbean.
That's right, and the cushions are also upholstered with fabric handwoven by Italian artisans using raw natural materials from Fukuoka, Japan, dyed through the traditional katazone method to make this a lightweight and eye-catching design.
Walang skip button yan. Maghintay kayo.
A rapid rhythm, an irregular beat, a disorienting speed, and a flitting gaze. These words are used to describe the new kind of society that has emerged post-World War II, euphemistically called as modernization, post-industrial or consumer society, media society, or multinational capitalism. At the same time, during this shift to the new economic and social order, modernism and high modernism is absorbed into polite society, taken in stride and revered as new classics that are taught and studied in the academy. A far cry from roots as subversive taboo media acting as a counterculture to the dominant aesthetics and philosophy of the era. Emerging from the critiques and deconstruction of modernist principles, in tandem with late capitalism and globalization, postmodernism has risen, seeking to once again overturn and subvert what has preceded it. According to Jameson, postmodernism and its culture is defined by the waning of effects, the inability of one to historicize, and the relevance of pastiche. It is likened to Lacan's theory of schizophrenia, with the most important concepts being the breakdown of the signifying chain, leading to an experience reduced to pure material signifiers, or a fragmentation of me, into perpetual presents that do not connect in any meaningful way. A person under modernity was able to see themselves as part of a narrative or a piece in a greater whole, and was able to tell a coherent story of oneself. A person under postmodernity is unable to after the narratives they once held on to gradually faded. In a world where the boundaries of communities are erased and traditions are broken up and commodified to be sold to a person on the opposite side of the globe, the Filipino identity is, of course, subject to the deterritorializing quality of capitalism and reflects the characteristics of postmodern society. Even the landscape of the city that we see every day has no cohesiveness, no connection to the land it occupies or the people that dwell in them, and no permanence. Billboards of celebrities promoting the latest product of a skincare line is harshly contrasted by sterile gray skyscrapers or perhaps by themed developments taking inspiration from various cultures. The urban environment becomes a collage of disparate elements, each vying for your full attention. The matter of overcoming the schizophrenic state of late capitalism and forming a national identity that allows inhabitants to historicize themselves is interrelated. But one must ask themselves, how?
So how? What plan have we devised to address this issue? Well, we decided to illustrate a house reflecting sustainable design using Filipino vernacular elements.
This house project is for our client Zan. He is 18 years old and looking for a new home in the Philippines.
We are starting with our initial concept art and sketches of the vision we have for the house, which will be hypothetically located in New Clark City. This house is a blend of traditional Filipino elements and modern practicality. Brown-tinted asphalt shingles for the roofing highlights a pragmatic approach, as it considers accessibility and quality. This material is perfect for roofing, with it being highly resistant to the Philippines' intense heat and frequent rain. The hanging roof, reminiscent of the Intramuros era, not only adds a touch of nostalgia, but but also serves a functional purpose by providing shade to the streets below. We have also chosen to incorporate screen windows and capiz windows, borrowing from the Spanish colonial era of the Philippines, for good ventilation and protection from mosquitoes. The design seamlessly weaves in a modern touch to ensure relevance and efficiency in the contemporary architectural landscape. Wooden accents pay homage to the enduring influence of wood in the iconic Bahay ng Bato design. The first layer's Bahay Kubo-esque roof shape adds a touch of cultural authenticity, creating a harmonious fusion of past and present. In the interior, concrete walls were chosen for their durability in the face of frequent natural disasters. To complement this choice, bamboo pillars for structural support, capiz lights, native wood pattern accents reminiscent of a bahay kubo, and wooden furniture have been incorporated. These elements not only enhance the aesthetic appeal, but also contribute to the resilience and functionality of the interior space. Of course, this is just a preliminary design. To create a feasible and updated design that we believe can truly give us a satisfactory result, we have turned to these three architects and these three eras for some guidance and inspiration.
Now, we want to take you on a small trip around Manila, across time and history to gather inspiration for our sustainable design project. Come on, let's go!
Before the colonial period in the Philippines, the architectural style was primarily influenced by local culture and environment. Indigenous Filipinos employed many primitive building techniques and materials, such as bamboo, wood, and palm leaves, to construct their homes. Their architecture was typically simple and practical, characterized by features adapted to the local climate, such as well-ventilated structures and high-pitched roofs to prevent heat buildup. Various regions of the Philippines also featured unique architectural styles, including Bahay Kubo-style wooden houses and brick houses primarily constructed with cement and stone blocks. These buildings reflected the geographical conditions, climate characteristics, and cultural traditions of different areas in the Philippines.
My name is Bernard Tanyo. I was born in Cebu. I studied in University of San Carlos. I'm not very sure the year, pero my favorite subject is mathematics. I took engineering, then all of a sudden I surrendered the mathematics. So when I went through the school and then I found out that there is an architecture course, my interest or my exposure started when I was in high school. He put me some drawing works, how to use the triangle, how to divide the in equal spaces or something like that. So that was how I was introduced into that architectural course. What element na gusto kong ma-maintain? Yung eaves. Yung roof eaves, mga ledges. Kasi po, malaking bagay siya na maprotektahan yung building. Ngayon kasi, hindi naman natin maano na colonial influence from west. May mga bahay sa west na maikli lang yung eaves, tapos puro glass, ganyan. Kaya ang glass, mainit yun. Tapos, pagdating mo ng glass ng mga bahay. Sa Europe or sa US, applicable siguro yun dahil malamig doon. So yun ang nakita kong valuable talaga ng element, yung eaves. Pangalawa, with respect to material, bamboo. I-rate mo siya as sustainable material. Number 1 siya. Usually yung bamboo sa flooring, noon, buo talaga bamboo from windows, walls, flooring. Meron talagang bahay ko muna. Buong bamboo talaga gawa sa bamboo lahat. Pati poste. Yung eaves kasi, appealing naman siya kung ilagay mo sa tamang lugar, tropical area tayo, so meron talaga siya. Although, meron kasi mga owner or kahit ng architect na talagang iano nila yung western, malaki ang glass, wala na parapet na ano. Pero lang, ang repercussion nila, ang building mo mainit. Pangalawa, yung building mo kung painted siya, madali siyang masira kung walang eaves. Yung bamboo, nowadays, hindi na siya ginagamit sa mga walls. Pero kung mga bahay kukunan, nandun pa rin siya. Ngayon, ginagawa siya sa flooring. Ang nangyari, gumawa sila ng system o technology na iyan siya, gawin siyang composite. Na pag tinignan mo, parang hindi siya bamboo. Na kala mo thick siya, thick na wood. Pero talagang ganda ako. Hindi na nga na-recommend. Dati kasi pag sinabi mo ifs lang, wala nang isip-isip na ano. Pero pwede mo pala siyang laruin. May ifs na gumanon ha, kasi gumanon. Di ba may mga building na letter C? Puro ifs siya, tas dito. Pati kahit si Jollibee gumagamit ng ganun element. Kaya pag tinignan mo siya, kakaiba yung dating niya. Yung bamboo slats or flooring, ang tawag niya engineered planks or engineered bamboo. Binuo siya as TNG. Alam niyo TNG? Tang and groove TNG. Dito, ito groove. So pagka dinikit siya, may magkanahan siya, magsasaluhan. May isang female, isang male. So, yun po yung TNG. Merong ginagawang bamboo na gano'n. Ginawa niya composite, dumaan sa engineering. Naging good plank na siya.
From Mr. Tanya's interview, we have learned about the quality of eaves and bamboo. He addressed that the eaves of the house should be made bigger so as to minimize the potential weather damage. Additionally, Mr. Tanya highlighted the good quality that bamboo brings to the table, thus allowing him to recommend its use in more aspects of the home.
Our next stop is Intramuros, where we'll be diving into Philippine architecture in the Spanish colonial era.
Intramuros is a walled area in Manila built during the colonial period. From roads to buildings, Spanish influences are very prevalent in this place. Colonial architecture features many Spanish and foreign elements which were modified to fit the Philippine climate. These elements included big and open spaces. The stone walls on lower floors of buildings and wood elements on the upper floors were also prevalent. The use of sturdier materials was part of the earthquake Baroque style, which focuses on stability after disasters. As for houses, the Bahay Kubo was upgraded to the Bahay na Bato, which exemplified the use of stones and wood in their designs. The roof would also be made of tiles or iron sheets.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm architect Rosancha Tendabulan. I've been an architect since 2015, and what I like about architecture is it's centered around the human design. So I love creating design that's specifically involves attention to detail when it comes to human interaction and also human function as well. So I definitely encourage students to take up architecture, as not only is it a great course to start with, but at the same time it helps you have a better understanding of what goes on in different spaces or in just in everyday life. Actually, you can actually apply it to different kinds of things as well. I definitely like the sawali, kapis, and also salia elements that's from the Spanish era. So if you look at it from the Spanish era, if you go back into the design, it's definitely a very Filipino architecture. It's a distinct design that you can only find here in the Philippines. Unlike the other Asian countries, it's a very distinct design that was heavily influenced and inspired by the Spanish era. especially the local weavers for the sawali. Even up to now, you can find it in the different provinces. Like for example, just in Tanay, you can find the local raw materials for the sawali to create, and also the kapis materials, and also the solia. Especially now in the furniture industry, it's a very in-demand design material as well. I think for the architectural part, there's actually a movement called the restoration and conservation architecture, which a lot of architects try to preserve and find different Spanish era traditional houses, and they try to conserve it. Like for example, the Las Casas establishment in Bataan, or I'm not sure the exact location is, but the business owner there literally transported the different Spanish era houses, and then he conserved it, and then he restored everything from scratch. And then also, for as what I mentioned before, the Sawali, Kapis, and the Solia, if you integrate it with a modern design of architecture, it, along with the Spanish design architecture as well, it will really create a very distinct and Filipino architectural design. So not only will you be pushing the movement for more locally designed spaces, but it also helps with pushing forward with our culture as well.
As far as the house is concerned, the process is going pretty well. But wait, where's Zan? To find him, let's look at our next location, BGC. Bonifacio Global City is a modern commercial and urban development area in the Manila region of the Philippines. Situated in the northeast part of Manila, it is a well-planned, modern, upscale urban center that has attracted numerous commercial, retail, entertainment, and residential projects. The modern architectural style in the Philippines is diverse, influenced by various factors such as history, culture, and climate. In urban areas like Manila, you'll find a mix of architectural styles ranging from sleek contemporary skyscrapers to colonial-era buildings and traditional Filipino designs infused with modern elements. There's also a growing trend towards sustainable and eco-friendly architecture, reflecting global concerns about the environment. Overall, Filipino modern architecture is characterized by creativity, adaptability, and a blend of local and international influences.
I'm an architect. I've been an architect for almost 15 years already. And yeah, I hope more students pursue architecture. It's nice. It's first it lets you use both halves of your brain, your artistic and your logic side. So yeah, it's nice. Filipino element for current architecture. There's a lot. But to understand that, you need to understand the Filipino culture first. So, Filipino culture kasi is, yeah, it talked about, it's been colonized by a lot of other elements around. Pero the reality of the Filipino culture is like a mix of Chinese, a mix of Japanese, a mix of American, Spanish. What I think that we have now is already the Filipino architecture. You might look for the old architecture, the ancient ones, the historical ones, but for the Filipino lifestyle that we have now, I think what you see around here is already it. More of it is already practical. That's why the rise of modernism is already here. So it checks all of those boxes. It's sustainable, it's practical, it can be mass produced, it can be cheap, and sometimes it's still nice to look at. It's a bonus. As long as we continue to design structures that will cater directly to the the Filipino as a person, how he or she lives. She might live a little bit Japanese, a little bit Spanish, and whatnot. But at the end of the day, the user experience is what commands the design. For sure, there's a lot because it's a practical way to go. But what I would like to challenge is for architects to find the middle point of everything nice and everything practical. And I'm sure it can be done. We need more minds to develop that thought. And I'm sure it's possible. And with that challenge, each architect here, each architects there can continue to develop their own style and evolve the profession forward.
From the two previous periods, and after consulting the architects, the previous design was edited with minor fixes. First, the entry stairs were moved so that people could enter the veranda. For the interior, the last two architects stated that the design was all good, but recommended a ceiling fan instead of the light fixture. 3 locations, 3 experienced architects, and many hours of planning has brought us to this point. We completed the exterior and interior of a modern Filipino house, utilizing the techniques and elements made known to us throughout this journey. We have one completed house, but what of the next couple hundred of buildings and developments? Where do we go from here? The inevitability of change looms on the horizon. Urbanization, evolving lifestyles, and technological advancements will continue to shape the architectural landscape. However, let this not be a cause for trepidation, but rather an opportunity for thoughtful evolution. The challenge is to adapt without losing sight of our cultural heritage and of the human aspect of architecture. Architecture is a human project for other humans. It is not an empty space, but one inhabited, shaped, and used by the people inside it.